and be unburdened by what has been, you know?
There is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to see the moment in time in which we exist and our
Harris is a bully who's pushed out or made life intolerable for virtually every person who's come to work for her in the White House. She's the Megyn Markle of the administration. People can't work for her.
Megyn Kelly just pulled that move again, you. No, the one where she strolls into political chaos, drops a scorching truth bomb, and leaves everyone else scrambling to catch up. This time, Kamala Harris is in the crosshairs, and let's just say it's not a flattering look, with awkward chuckles, political acrobatics, and a stash of receipts. Kelly delivers her signature mix of sass and unflinching critique. Brace yourself, this one's going to hit harder than a word salad.
Who decided to pop up this week at the Leading Women Defined, terrible name for a summit, the Leading Women Defined Summit in California, and had this to say, SOT 26.
each day in these last few months in our country. And it understandably creates a great sense of
Kamala Harris, dumb as ever.
I mean, she looks drunk to me.
She always
I don't want to
drunk.
I don't want to throw around any crazy charges here, but that's not.
Hit that like button and subscribe, you don't want to miss this. Kamala Harris was already having one of those weeks. The teleprompter sighing before she does. The audience blinking in confusion, and her laugh echoing like a haunted ringtone from 2019. Just when it seemed things couldn't get more awkward, Megyn Kelly waltzed into the arena.
Harris is having her moment in the sun. I heard you guys talking about this on your show. And she's in a great mood, and she actually has reason to be. Her books are selling fast, like wildfire. 350,000 copies sold so far, which is actually really good. I actually can't wait to see when she hits the New York Times bestseller list if she has the little asterisk next to her number, which not everybody knows means that you used bulk sales to get.
Someone had to say what everyone was already thinking. The vice president has practically made word salad an Olympic sport. But Megyn Kelly didn't come with a mere shovel, she brought an excavator. She's been observing Kamala's public performances like a scientist watching a bewildered hamster fumble with a jar. Equal parts fascination, disbelief, and is this actually happening?
She cannot do it. She's desperately trying to be Oprah, and she can't be Oprah. And as it turns out, Oprah is kind of a psychopath. I'm going to do a piece on this at some point. Honestly, we were raised by wolves, those of us who watch that show religiously. I figured it out at 54. In any event, Kamala Harris is not even as good as the fake Oprah, never mind the real one. And I don't know, you guys, you seem to be very bullish on her newfound confidence and think that this sales number is going to encourage her to actually run again. I mean, I'll start with you on that, Andrew. Do you believe that?
Somewhere, an English teacher quietly weeps into a red pen. Then Megyn Kelly shows up. And suddenly, it's like the lights flip on at the end of the weirdest party ever. The music stops. The laughter dies down. And there stands Kamala, clutching a metaphorical martini filled with word loops, buzzwords, and motivational gibber.
Me, if we could just bring it back to me, I was the first here in the first day. I was the second there, but then I was the third, then I was the first, and then I almost became the first this, but I was like, this is how leftists think. It's like, I would be humiliated. I really would. If I were Kamala Harris, I'd be like, look, there was a time in this country when that was at the forefront of people's minds. We're past that time. Look at my stellar resume. Thanks to this great country, I've achieved all. No, she can't do it. I was first, then second, then I was first again.
Megyn Kelly simply pointed out what millions had been pretending not to notice. This isn't profound, it's dizzying. Kamala has a unique talent. While some politicians connect with ideas, she connects through confusion. A sentence might start like a rocket launch, but halfway through, the rocket remembers it left the oven on and just spins in place. It's like watching GPS directions argue with themselves. Turn left, no, right. Actually, just laugh awkwardly and hope no one notices.
I think, well, all politicians operate inside a bubble, and in her bubble, this reinforces the view that she's still anointed, and she will go forward, and I think she will run again. I think the Washington Post, though, had a great. They said her book tour is even less compelling than her campaign. I think sort of describes it. It's been a shock to me. I will say this. I have not read the book. I've read the excerpts that were in the Atlantic, and I've read about it. And it does seem there's some juicy tidbits in the book, and maybe it's a better book than.
She wasn't having it. Megyn Kelly has seen chaos before debated political gladiators. Weathered media storms, but nothing could prepare her for the linguistic origami that Kamala calls communication. It's not that Kamala's words don't make sense. They just make too much of the wrong kind of sense, like poetry written by a malfunctioning Roomba. The scene was simple. Megyn laid out the facts. Every time Kamala speaks, the internet braces for impact. Clips flood in. TikTok edits explode. And 1,000 new memes are born. Somewhere, Elon Musk sighs, knowing he'll have to ban Kamala bot parody accounts again. Kamala seems to have built her brand around saying things that might mean something. If you squint really hard, we must work together because working together works best when we work together. Inspiring. Megyn didn't need to raise her voice or roll her eyes. She did what she does best, slice through nonsense with surgical precision. She made it clear that every Kamala public moment feels like an improv class where nobody remembered the topic.
As you know by this point, is how she handled it in her debate with a very polite, though appropriately interruptive, Mike Pence. I mean, it's a debate, so you're allowed here and there to say, I don't think so, or yo, that's not right. That's appropriate debate behavior, but not to Kamala Harris, who wants you to know when she's speaking.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Kamala doesn't even notice. She steps up to the podium, smiles confidently, and launches into another paragraph that sounds like an AI trying to pass for human. Megyn compared her to a motivational speaker stuck in a loop, endlessly promising progress while explaining absolutely nothing, as if Kamala learned politics by watching fortune cookies argue. The weirdest part, the media pretends this is genius. Every time she speaks, there's always a cable news panel nodding like they just heard Socrates, redefining leadership, while Megyn wonders if anyone in the room actually understands English anymore. Behind the scenes, Kamala's staffers are practically praying before every speech. Megyn dubbed it the Kamala paradox. The more she talks, the less you understand it. You keep listening, hoping this will be the moment it all clicks. It never does. It's like binge watching a show, promising answers next season. Except the writers never had a...
It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, like, leftists are gonna leftist. Here is SOT 52.
A lot of people, I'm included, and President Biden also, think that a lot of it is about racism and sexism. And those are the reasons that you really lost, not because of the time thing. What do you say to that? Do you think this country will ever elect a woman president? In my lifetime, probably not.
I beg to differ. I believe that we will.
Megyn compared Kamala's leadership style to a GPS that refuses to admit it's lost, cheerfully recalculating, even after driving straight into a river. Kamala smiles, waves, and insists everything's going according to plan, and America just has to believe harder. It's almost impressive in a way. She's perfected the art of saying nothing with absolute conviction. Her lines hit like a TED Talk written during a caffeine overdose. Every gesture rehearsed, every smile timed, but the words are like decorative confetti, pretty, but meaningless when you try to clean up the mess. Megyn pointed out how the administration seems terrified to let Kamala speak unsupervised. Every time she's sent to handle an issue, it feels less like diplomacy and more like damage control. The world watches in polite confusion as she explains root causes like a life coach who got lost on the way to therapy. Then came the legendary Megyn moment, dismantling the idea that Kamala's critics are just being unfair. Megyn asked bluntly, if anyone else said these things, would they still have a job? She joked that Kamala speaks like she's running on Windows 98, lots of buffering, plenty of updates, but never quite delivering the...
I now think she's a moron. She's not that smart. Forgive me, I'm still one of those people who gets wooed by titles. I'm like, she was the Attorney General of the state of California. You know, like, how dumb could she be? Like, dumb. The answer is very, very dumb is the answer. And I've come to that conclusion just with my own eyes and ears from watching and listening to her. She cannot put two sentences together. I mean, the old man is actually losing his mental faculties.
Megyn went for the jugular. Kamala's infamous laugh, the one that starts as a giggle and spirals into a full nervous system reset, has become her political trademark, part coping mechanism, part punctuation mark for sentences gone off the rails. Megyn noted that no world leader should sound like they just got caught sneaking out of detention. Kamala's laugh has somehow united both sides of the political spectrum, not in agreement, but in mutual disbelief, the kind of sound that makes translators give up mid- Somewhere in Europe, a diplomat probably has PTSD from decoding a Kamala press conference. Megyn likened her communication style to modern art. You're told it's profound, but all you see is a mess, and the gallery insists you just don't get it. Her speeches are like jazz, confusing, unpredictable, and somehow always ending in applause. The deeper Megyn went, the sharper it got, approval numbers slipping faster than poll-tested metaphors. Every attempt to reboot her public image turning into another episode of What Did She Just Say? And yet the White House still acts surprised.
She does speak. It's so cringy. That remark about what's next, I'm going to walk up these stairs, is so telling. She's so dumb. She's just not clever. And this is yet another example that's making the rounds today. It's a flashback from just April, not that long ago, when she was asked by Spectrum News what it would do to race relations if Trump repeals some of these DEI policies that she and Joe Biden have infiltrated the entire government with.
I think it's really important that we as Americans always embrace our history. The parts that...
Then Megyn turned to the 2024 elephant in the room. Kamala's rumored ambitions. The idea of her leading the ticket is like watching someone confidently enter a spelling bee without knowing how letters work. Megyn couldn't resist imagining the campaign slogans hope, progress, and word salad practically writes itself. Kamala's speeches always sound like she's revealing a great secret. But the only revelation is that she has no idea what she's talking about. She uses pauses like magicians use smoke, hoping no one notices the trick is empty, yet still insists everything is going perfectly. Megyn mocked this bizarre confidence, like bragging about winning a race you didn't finish, noting that at this point, authenticity would be a scandal. The irony, Kamala could have been likable, charismatic, smart, able to smile on cue, but somewhere between campaign slogans and White House photo ops, she became a walking philosophy class nobody signed up for. Megyn wrapped it up with a warning disguised as a punchline. The country doesn't need another motivational speaker. It needs someone who can actually finish a sentence that matters.
And it concerns me because that's all we have in line on the Democratic side. And as Trump's numbers continue to go up and up and up, and I realize some of the polls are showing him beating Joe Biden now in a hypothetical matchup, he's still very vulnerable. He did not win in 2020, and it looks like it's going to be the same matchup. And honestly, Joe Biden's knocking on, the Grim Reaper's door, and she could be the president of the United States in the next 6 years by default, if things go, in a dark and...
Kamala's legacy might just be making everyone nostalgic for silence. Megyn pointed out the cruel truth. Kamala isn't underestimated, she's overestimated by people too afraid to admit she's out of her depth. The longer everyone pretends her speeches make sense, the more the whole country starts sounding like it's in denial. Every time her name trends online, the internet braces for another viral clip of confusion, and Megyn is right there, sipping coffee, watching it unfold like a live sitcom. She's not mocking for sport, she's diagnosing the symptoms of a leadership vacuum filled with nervous laughter and circular sentences. No rage, no theatrics, just calm, precise observation that makes Kamala's political facade crumble faster than her approval ratings. As Kamala continues her endless cycle of speeches, smiles, and word labyrinths, Megyn remains the reminder that not everyone is buying the act. While the media pretends confusion equals depth, Megyn's already moved on, probably shaking her head and wondering how long the nation can keep pretending the emperor is full.
Harris, let's face it, was a DEI hire as vice president and would have been a DEI hire had we voted her in as president. She was just out in Australia, as an aside, this week because some real estate conference hired her to speak. She's represented by CAA here in America, one of the biggest agencies out there. And they're apparently having trouble finding jobs for her domestically because they had to ship her halfway around the world in order to get a paid gig. And I just want the audience to know, this is how she sounds. This is what they paid, I don't know how much for. She sounds just like Kamala.
Kamala will continue her world tour of circular logic, waving, laughing, and explaining the meaning of the moment all over again. Her team will clap, headlines will spin, and somewhere, Megyn Kelly will smile knowingly, because once you've seen through the fog, you can't unsee it. One woman armed with questions, the other armed with slogans. One speaks clearly, the other speaks in riddles, and in the battle between clarity and confusion, it's no contest. Suddenly, the dots start connecting. Those endless speeches about possibilities and moments in time begin to sound less like leadership and more like a malfunctioning inspirational podcast. You can practically see Kamala's staff scrambling behind the scenes, desperately trying to translate what she meant to say, like interpreters at the United Nations of Confusion. Meanwhile, Megyn just stands there, watching it unfold like a teacher who's seen one too many bad book reports. She doesn't yell. She doesn't flinch.
I have a daughter. I hate the fact that there's been no female presidents. I really do. I hate the fact that when you take out your little placemat, when your kids are learning the presidents, there's no female face on there, and then you have to explain why. It's effed up. I would love to see a female president, like a Margaret Thatcher type, somebody who's strong and serious and sober and respected. This ain't it. I am telling you, America is not going to elect this Nimrod as its first female president. I trust in them too much for that. They're not that dumb, and they're not that...
Kamala's legacy might just be making everyone nostalgic for silence. Megyn pointed out the cruel truth. Kamala isn't underestimated, she's overestimated by people too afraid to admit she's out of her depth. The longer everyone pretends her speeches make sense, the more the whole country starts sounding like it's in denial. Every time her name trends online, the internet braces for another viral clip of confusion, and Megyn is right there, sipping coffee, watching it unfold like a live sitcom. She's not mocking for sport, she's diagnosing the symptoms of a leadership vacuum filled with nervous laughter and circular sentences. No rage, no theatrics, just calm, precise observation that makes Kamala's political facade crumble faster than her approval ratings. As Kamala continues her endless cycle of speeches, smiles, and word labyrinths, Megyn remains the reminder that not everyone is buying the act. While the media pretends confusion equals depth, Megyn's already moved on, probably shaking her head and wondering how long the nation can keep pretending the emperor is